Hello and welcome to Perry Pencil. To all newcomers, subscribe now and be alerted whenever I upload a new video. Hello everyone, it's Perry Pencil, and it's time for another requested video. This video is long overdue. Now I'm talking about the opposite of the antagonist, Darth Vader. I'm talking about Luke Skywalker. But before I begin, I want to address the fact that I honestly don't remember who requested this. So do me a favor, if you remember requesting this video, please leave your name in the comment section so that I can give you a shout out in the next video. Also, it doesn't matter if it ends up being multiple people who may have requested Luke Skywalker. I will create a list acknowledging everyone. So without further ado, let's draw Luke Skywalker. Okay, let's go ahead on and drop this line at the top of the page here and draw another line at the bottom of the page. Generally, what I like to do is have it about an inch down from top to bottom. Then we're going to go ahead and divide the page in half. This is so that you can see what's going on from right to left when you're drawing your figure on a page. Also, the page is vertical. Now do me a favor and drop an oval shape on the left side of the page here. And what this is going to do is establish where Luke is going to be on the page. Draw oval underneath for his neck. Drop an oval shape in for his body shape. Then we're going to go ahead and put a circle close to the edge of the oval shape for his body. Drop a line down and then drop a line for his forearm. Now, if you notice, I used the line between his head and where his hands and wrists is going to be. So go ahead on and drop that in there as well. Now I got a curve here for his spine, and then I'm going to go ahead and quickly drop in a square shape for his waist area. Notice I took a line to go ahead on and divide that in half because he's twisting his and contorting his waist here, moving it forward, while his upper body is going back into space. Notice I dropped two lines in for either side of where his legs are going to be. Now we're going to start from the bottom of his shoulder there and just lightly drop down where his sleeve is. This drawing is going to be unique because it's not going to be as much forms used because he has a lot of fabric on him. Go ahead and drop in the legs here as I'm doing. And notice I put oval shapes in for cylinders here for his thigh muscles. Same thing for the left leg. And you want to go ahead on and drop circles in for his knees. And then for his calf, you want to go ahead on and just lightly drop that in. And then what I'm doing is measuring from right to left here, his right leg to his left leg. Then go ahead and drop circles in for his ankle. And notice what I'm doing here. I'm dropping lines between the right side of the person, the figure to the left side of the figure. And what this does is this establishes where things are in relation to the other side of the body. So right here, we're going to go ahead on off that heel on his right foot and just kind of use that as a reference for where his left foot is going to be. Because if you notice, his left leg is kind of back a little bit. Like if you notice, he's on his toes here. And what I want to do is establish that the toes are going to be where the heel is on his right foot. So what that does is just pretty much establish that there. Notice I'm pushing his leg further back. Overall, the figures drop down, or dropped in rather, excuse me. So we'll go ahead and just insinuate a lightsaber here. And that's going behind his head up to the top of the page. Notice that's where I have that line established for the beginning, why that's important. So I don't draw the lightsaber too long and pass that line. I'm going to go ahead and start putting details in Luke's head. So I'm starting off with a contour line here. And this is just to establish the overall shape of his head. For this segment, I wanted to zoom in a little bit And forgive me for the blurry, low quality here. But for the sake of this drawing, what I'm trying to establish is placement. So look at this as more of a practice of Luke Skywalker as opposed to it being a portrait of Luke Skywalker. Notice that for the nose, I simply have a line coming in there and then dropping a dot in for the left nostril. And I got circles dropping in here for where the eye sockets are going to be. So for the sake of this drawing, if you could just kind of use simplicity here and not necessarily going for identical, looking like Mark Hamilton, the actor. So notice I dropped his eyes in, but notice not a lot of detail here. Is more suggestive than it is accurate in terms of portrait drawings go. Put some eyebrows in, just raise just a little above where the eyes are. And for the mouth, I just simply have a simple mouth gesture here with a line going across underneath the nose and just a dot underneath the mouth where the mouth where the actual chin is going to be. Now, Mark Hamilton here has a mullet style, and this is more like an 80s hairstyle. So notice that what I'm doing is roughing in the shape more like the actual way Luke looks. The shape here I'm going for is just kind of mapping in what the hair will look like. And usually for these type of drawings, you could kind of map it or kind of make it like a wig. There's a style where when you're dropping in the hair, you kind of make a wig shape for the hair as opposed to it being, you're drawing off of the skull itself, but you kind of give it a mass or a size, if you will, to kind of make it look like the character. So I'm putting some simple strands in here for the locks of hair on Luke's head here. And notice that I know how to play it going back closer on his right side of his head as it is on it's more exposed on the left side of his head. So that right there, you'll see more of the hair on his left side as opposed to the right, which is hidden behind his face. And I want to go ahead and drop his neck in here. And notice how I didn't go too detailed on this in regards to what his face looked like. Now we have, of course, a clearer image here. So I will suggest if you really couldn't see that blurry low quality that I just had zoomed in, just so you can see what I was doing, you can pause it at any given time. And I usually suggest just if you needed to see it clear here. If you notice, it's just how it would look on a page as a regular size here. So going on ahead, I noticed I cleaned it up with my kneaded eraser. So I've gone back in just to make it clean so the hair locks flows a certain way and looks a little more clean and sketchy. Now we're starting to add more detail here. Of course, that his right arm is hidden by his left arm. So what I'm establishing here is where his other fist is. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop down his outfit, if you will. It's more fabric related than it is anything else. Notice he has rather a lot of fabric here. So that's why I didn't really go crazy over the idea of putting circles and cylinders in, because Luke is covered with drapery. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drop if you could follow along with me, look at the contour. By the contour I mean the line structure of what he's wearing. It's shapeless. And by looking at shapeless, it's just more like he's just wearing clothes than he had. Let's say he has his shirt off rather, and it's just the musculature showing, or his arms, or his shoulders and bicep and tricep. It's not the case here. So as you're following along with what I'm doing, this tutorial pretty much is seeing what I'm doing and following what I'm doing, beat for beat. course, he has a pouch here. I don't, when it comes to pouches, a lot of characters that are battle oriented or warriors, if you will, they have pouches. You don't know what might be in there, like some kind of bomb or something like that. But nevertheless, he has a pouch on. So it's a circle square for me. I'm just putting some fabric lines under the back side of his shoulder here, and now beginning to put the other part of the fabric that he's wearing for his shirt. Notice that if you're wearing, like, say if you're wearing a hoodie or something like that, and you have a belt on over it, it kind of overlaps and comes down over what he's wearing for his pants. Now I'm going to go up here, just simplistically put in details on the hand here. In this case being his right hand, the top part that's holding the lightsaber. And then we'll go ahead and drop the other hand, which is the left side for the right hand, actually. That's going underneath. For the lightsaber, it's simple shapes. So because for this drawing, and it being a full body drawing here, and I wanted to catch Luke Skywalker and the pose of having a lightsaber, there's not a lot of detail that's going to be required here. With the lightsaber, you simply just drop in lines, and it's actually more simplistic than a sword because a lightsaber is just energy. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the lines behind the figure and everything. This is a pretty clean drawing, but just for the sake of the tutorial, just want to get into the habit of cleaning up your lines. So when the drawing is finished, it's ready for the next process, which is inking. Now, we're going into Luke's pants here. And he has kind of almost, I'd like to say, if you were wearing sweatpants, it's kind of like what he's wearing here. And of course, it stops at the knee. So what you want to do is have this fabric kind of look, and what I call flexion fold or gravitation fold. Excuse me, not flexion folds. Or it's a combination of the both. It's flexion folds because the way his legs are posed, and then it's gravitational lines here because it's pulling it down. And notice it's overlapping over top of where his calf is going to be. So right now, of course, I'm cleaning up some of the areas on the upper wear that he has on, and I have some lines coming in here to suggest where the other part of his arm behind here is going to fall in place. It's very baggy fit clothes here, and for the people that are of the Force, they kind of used to dress like this in the earlier films. And I'm going on ahead and shadowing this part in to bring the left arm forward. Notice I'm going on ahead and I'm dropping in some lines here to suggest where his legs are going to be positioned. And for the calf portion of Luke, is going to be very simplistic because he has these leg wraps, almost like as if you wounded yourself and you just have these bandages that go around your legs or something like that. In this case, I'm not sure whether it's just to protect him from the weather, or because I know in this film he sometimes they're in sand kind of conditions, stuff like that, and maybe that's kind of what they would do, is wrap their legs up or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I'm just taking a stab at it. Maybe some of you may know about it in the comment section. You can let me know why they did this, or it probably doesn't matter, but it looks cool as an outfit nevertheless. So notice here I established the shadow line, and you could do the same thing. The shadow line is pretty much an abstract style, if you will. It doesn't really have to be accurate. Now here it is where I'm talking about with the wraps on the legs. You can pretty much just randomly put lines in the way I'm doing and zigzag them because when you wrap your legs, you don't really care. It doesn't have to be straight across or parallel to one another to look neat. When you're wrapping your legs or something like that, or your arm when you're wounded, you're just wrapping it. So, go for broke hair, have fun. Continuing the shadowing over here, you notice that I'm being loose with it because it doesn't matter. When it comes to shadows, again, they're abstract. You could change the form depending on what's going on. And clean up the lines here, and the drawing is pretty much wrapping up at this point. I think this is going to complete the drawing. I appreciate you guys. Again, take care. That's going to do it. That completes this drawing. This concludes today's video. If you watched this entire video, thanks very much. And it is my wish that you have gotten some takeaways from this tutorial. If you like what you saw here today, give this video a like. If you're new to this channel and feel like you'd like to be a part of this community, then subscribe. Tell your friends about Perry Pencil. And lastly, click that notification button so that you're able to follow me as I upload each video. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and keep drawing.